Good morning. It is Jose Montoya from CoffeeBreak Logistics, no booking. Today is a special day. We are going to have a great guest. The question is, how do you bring data to life and life to data? That's basically our team. And we are going to hear from an expert and a great guest, as I mentioned it before. Dr. Joe is going to be with us, and everything is going to be okay. It's going to be fun. So let me start with this. Jose Montoya here. CoffeeBreak Logistics, no booking. Why is no booking? Because basically it's a common word that we use all the time, especially in the supply chain and logistics, right? We book a hotel, we book a event, we book everything, right? In logistics, when we are going to be booking a shipment, definitely we have to do the same thing. Booking a shipment, booking a vessel, booking an airplane, everything is booking. Here, no booking. And why is no booking? Because we bring business leaders that let us know about them and what they do best in the industry. And any business, by the way. As I said, today we have Dr. Joe. He is an international keynote speaker, CTO, 30 years of experience, and we are going to hear very interesting stuff from what he does and how probably he's going to be able to help us. Without any further ado, here we have Dr. Joe. Joe, good morning.
Greetings. Hello, Jose. How are you, sir?
Fantastic, cannot complain. How's everything with you?
Doing all right. Thanks so much for asking.
Are you from North Carolina or you are somewhere else?
Yes, sir. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
The beautiful Raleigh.
Yes,
How's
beautiful
it?
Raleigh.
How's everything going in North Carolina these days?
Well, it has been really warm. Raleigh is, the weather in North Carolina is rather strange. You can have three out of the four seasons within a matter of 24 hours, it seems, Yeah, it was in the 70s yesterday. It's in the 70s today. Tonight
Uh-huh.
it's supposed to go down to 29 or 30, and
Okay.
tomorrow it'll only be in the 50s for the next few days. Then it'll pop right back up. It's these fronts that come through. A nice warm front will come through. Everything will get warm. It'll rain. Then it'll get real cold. Then another front will come through. So it's that way for about a month, and then it stays cold. It gets cold and it stays cold until like
Wow.
February, like
Yeah.
winter is supposed to be, right?
Well, here in California, the last week, we have cold weather, right? When I say cold, it's on the early in the morning is like 55 and almost 60. That's cold for me. I used
Right.
to live, I used to live in the East Coast. Now, my friends complain in the way that I talk because cold for me is 60s.
Right.
And
It's all a matter of perspective, isn't it?
That is correct, yes. And
Yes,
then
sir.
during the day goes to 775 or something like that. But last week we have a couple of days with 90s during the day.
Ew.
That's a big change, right?
That is a big change. Yes, it
And
is.
and everything goes according with what we are experiencing in these days, right? Changes,
That's
something
right.
that we can control. Changes are happening, and we need to adapt to those changes and do the best that we can, right?
Yeah, in the 6th century BC, there was a Greek philosopher, Heraclitus, who said that the only thing constant in life is change. So,
Well, that is absolutely correct, no
right.
question.
It's a
Uh,
paradox. It's an
yeah,
oxymoron, whatever, but it's often true.
Joe, thank you for taking the time. I mean, it's a pleasure for me to have you on.
Thank you,
But
sir.
let us know about you. I mean, it's 30 years. I mean, it sounds easy to mention, but let us know from the beginning how it's
Sure.
been life.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, again, you say it's a the honor and pleasure is mine, sir. I'm very grateful that you invited me to be on your program today. Um, so, a little bit about me. I started off my professional life as an educator
Okay.
for 10 years. That's what I went to school for, and both my undergraduate degrees and my graduate degrees are in education. And before I transitioned at that point after 10 years as an educator. I transitioned into, or morphed, or however you want to say it, into information technology in the early 1990s, where when I started working at NC State University in North Carolina. I
Hmm.
was a computer consultant at the time, and over the next 25 years, I rose up through the ranks. Able to leverage my communication skills, writing skills, instructional design skills, to develop training programs and speak at various university events and that kind of thing, along with all the amazing stuff I was doing with applications development, database design, and a host of other things that I enjoyed tremendously. But during that 25-year period of time, I rose up through the ranks, being promoted to analyst programmer, then computer training manager, then business intelligence specialist. And then I was recruited away from NC State by some amazing, phenomenal, tremendous, all kinds of nice adjectives, good ones too, I should say. These, yeah, no, serious, I do, because I love my job, I do. And I wasn't really looking for one, but these were amazing folks. They had a need, and from Department of Health and Human Services, or DHHS, it's a lot
Uh-huh.
easier to say DHHS, the acronym. That was about 4.5 years ago. I mean, they made me an offer that Jose, I just couldn't refuse that offer. I mean, it was a major promotion. It was a great move, best move for my career, more importantly for my family. And so now I'm a senior systems analyst and team lead in the IT division of DHHS. I said I love my job. I love my boss. Love my team.
Uh-huh.
Besides all the cool techie stuff I get to do, I oversee the activities of the team that I manage. I
Mhm.
also manage projects. I get to take processes apart, analyze how they work, figure out how to make them work more efficiently and faster, then put them back together again in ways that hopefully will be better for everybody involved. I get to liaise between high level business partners and high level technical partners on
Uh-huh.
both sides, and um, figure out how to get these disparate groups to talk to each other, and develop functional requirements, business and technical requirements, and solutions that somehow I can get them all to agree to it, and somehow make it all work so everybody's happy.
So
Um,
you're
yeah.
like a magician, right?
Uh, that has been said. I don't know if my prestidigitational skills are. I had to say that word. I don't know.
Getting
But yeah,
getting people together that get along and communicate and everything. That is a
right.
magician.
Yeah, that's where the magic happens. Exactly. And I love it. I really do. I get to, I get to spearhead business intelligence and analytics initiatives for our data warehouse, while at the same time figuring out ways to make it work and be sleeker and more efficient. Now, in addition to my full-time leadership role at DHHS, on a part-time fractional basis, I'm also Chief Technology Officer at Solentech Corporation. It's a dynamic cybersecurity startup firm in North Carolina. I lead the strategy for technology platforms and partnerships, take the initiative in thought leadership and creativity, and I'm also an integral player in the rollout of new new products. Now, on the side, my other passion is speaking at conferences, which you were so kind and gracious to say. And incidentally, yeah, that has really taken off in the last couple of years, and
Okay.
we can talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, I speak on technical topics, professional development topics, and motivational and leadership topics. And the speaking part isn't a new thing. It's just doing it away from where I'm at. And on a personal level, in my personal life, I publish a monthly military newsletter that's called the Patriot News for my church's military ministry.
Mhm.
My wife and I are heavily involved in our church's Spanish ministry. I teach a couple of classes for them. I direct the music, among other things. I sing, I play the piano, I write songs, I serve on advisory boards, I do voiceovers, but most of all, I enjoy time with my wife and family because nothing to me is as important as family.
That
So,
is
in a
absolutely
nutshell,
right.
that's me. Probably a little longer than I intended to, but yeah,
Yeah, family is probably number one, right?
absolutely. Yes,
You
sir.
have to be
Nothing
all
more
the time.
important.
Yep, yep,
That's
yep.
exactly right.
Agree.
Jobs can come and go, but family is forever.
Now, I believe that you forget something. In everything that you do, you have done, you didn't mention singing.
No, I did not. That's yeah, I love to do that too. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
sir. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I
Okay.
love it. I love it. I do it all the time. I lead the singing at I'm the director of music at the in the Spanish ministry of the church where my wife and I attend. So
Okay.
I get to do a lot of fun.
Okay, what church is that?
That's Friendship Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent. So you direct the whole ministry about
of
the
the music.
just
I
the
direct
music.
the music, right.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that is
Yeah.
spectacular.
Thank you. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. The music's a big part of my life. Music, in a way, plays into data, and it plays into the things that I do in how you have different patterns, you have harmonies, you have melodies, you have rhythm, you have timing, and you have inflection, and all those things are important. For me as a speaker, and
Uh-huh.
for me in business intelligence and in data analytics and so forth, it all kind of it's all like a journey. It all kind of meshes together, how all these different things kind of work together to prepare me for the things that I do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Worship is probably the best thing that happens at church, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Because it's fun, it's connection with others and stuff like that. So I do enjoy that as well. So going back to the early years, you were a teacher, right?
Yes, sir.
And if I'm not mistaken, when you taught Bible, economics, Spanish, computer,
Hmm.
so you taught Bible too?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Wow,
Wide combination. Yeah,
it
economics,
is.
Bible, Spanish. Yeah, and computers. Right. Yeah.
Just tell me what is the relation between all these four: Bible, economics, Spanish, and computer.
Right. Well, it the schools where I taught were private Christian schools
Okay.
that approached everything from a biblical standpoint,
Uh-huh.
and so excuse me,
No
uh,
worries.
while um, while it wasn't the only topic, of course, it was essentially for me as a Christian and for those that believe the way I believe and the way what the emphasis of the school was. The Bible being the rule of faith and practice, and regardless of what religion a person may be, there there should always be some type of guiding principle, which in our case, the Word of God, the Bible,
Agree.
is our guide and principle. Everything is based on it. Everything stems from a biblical Judeo-Christian worldview, seeing the rule of law, the dignity of man, the worship of God, the service of your fellow human being, respect for life,
Uh-huh.
and respect for each other, love of family, the preservation of the family unit, and the importance of decency, integrity, and hard work. And those are principles that people in any religion, or people who have no religion at all,
Right, right.
are things that are universally, I would hope, universally agreed upon as the backbone, the foundational concepts of our society and the way that we can sustain growth and sustain honesty and dignity and decency and getting along with each other and moving forward with I don't know the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's
Life,
correct.
liberty, and the pursuit of bettering the life of your fellow man.
Right, right, right. Here in Southern California, there is an important church, Christian church,
Hmm.
called Saddleback Church, and great influence from someone in North Carolina. You may know the name of that person in North Carolina, right? Unfortunately, he passed away already.
Oh,
Yeah, but anyway, so how was the experience? I mean, as a teacher, uh, in back in those years? I mean, what is the impact that creates for everything that you are doing today?
sure. That's an excellent question. The thing as a teacher, okay, you have a message to give, right? You have um, it's almost like looking at it in it's almost like looking at it as sales, right?
Okay,
If you are trying to sell a product or sell a service, you have something that someone else wants.
right, right.
A football, right? And you're going to sell the football. You have to convince the person on the other end that parting with their money is a good deal because they're getting the football and I'm getting the money. They've got to consider themselves to be better off for having spent that money. If
Right,
I've convinced them of this, I've done my job, right? So as an educator, I have knowledge of topic XYZ, principle A, principle B, whatever topic that I'm teaching. It doesn't matter. It is knowledge, let's say in general. And the
okay.
individual on the other end needs that knowledge to fulfill some requirement, to meet some certifications. It doesn't matter, if you're a kid, you have to go through X number of years of school in order to get your diploma and graduate and so forth, right? If you're an adult, then you are taking a certification class in whatever topic or area of expertise in which you are seeking to excel. So
Mhm.
therefore, you need this particular training. So you have that need of the training, the class, the whatever, and I have the knowledge. And so if I am to effectively communicate, I have to connect with you. I have to appeal to your mind, to your soul, your spirit. I have to both resonate, I have to be relevant, and I have to be resonant so that I can effectively communicate and you can effectively receive the knowledge and, of course, perform whatever assessment that needs to be done in order to measure whether or not you have learned, you've met the objectives that I've set forth in the lesson or whatnot. Okay, all that entire process is communication. It's
Uh-huh.
connection. It's making headway. It's meeting a need, and doing so in a compelling manner. And the more, the greater, the deeper, and the broader I make those connections with the person at the other end of the screen, the other end of the room, the other end of if it's a classroom, if
Uh-huh.
it's a in-person thing, or it's a virtual recording on YouTube or whatever. Excuse me. I The better, to the extent that I'm able to connect with that person on the other end, is the extent to which that I can successfully communicate whatever it is that I'm trying to tell them. Excuse me. And therefore they're able to learn and either repeat back or do the assessment or whatever, and show that they have indeed met those objectives.
Mhm,
If I
mhm,
can do it in a way that compels them, in a way that I show the passion that I have for that particular topic, the love that I have for the topic, and the care that I have for the individual to whom I'm teaching it or to whom I'm showing it or sharing it, um, then that's a huge part of it. The other huge part of it is not only do I communicate my passion, I also can ignite my passion within the heart and mind of that other person. Then they are more likely to retain more of what I've told them. If they know that the reason they're doing it is simply to get a grade and get this over with and move on to something else, that's one level of connection.
mhm.
But if, on the other hand, I get them to feel the same way about the topic that I do, and they recognize, hey, this applies to me. This is how I can apply it and make my own life better, or whatever skill set that I'm attempting to achieve or whatnot. Then that learning is going to take place, and it's going to be mutually beneficial. I get the satisfaction of knowing that I've shared my passion with someone else. I get the satisfaction also of knowing that I've ignited that same passion within my listener, and they benefit because they have gained the skill. They feel that they are better off because of it. Just like with the sales transaction metaphor that I used earlier, we both feel like we're better off. Then it's a positive experience. Okay, so
Now,
that that all relates into what I do.
now one of your slogans is bring data to life and life to data. Walk us through what it means exactly.
Sure, sure. That's an excellent question, Jose. I I've made that little phrase my catchphrase, my mantra, my I don't know, my tagline, I guess you might say.
Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
it's something I am really really passionate about. I have a couple of different approaches to it. With one of them being that the love of data. Okay, the love of seeing how it drives our decision making, the love of um, challenging people to use it correctly when they're building the reports, the love of creating visually compelling designs and data visualizations to help those decision makers to gain the insights that they need from it, and not just look at a pretty graph, but look at something that will indeed allow them to gain the insight. The love of speaking at conferences and sharing my vision and passion for building these frameworks for best practices necessary to ensuring that it's all done the right way.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all of this is what I do to try to bring data to life, recognizing that it is indeed such a big part of our lives. Now, in one of my recent presentations, I gave a quote about this. This quote supposedly came from Albert Einstein. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. I think I said that right. I may have it backwards, but and for that matter, there's some debate over whether Einstein
Uh-huh.
actually said this or not. But he certainly embodied the quote in principle. And to that point, there were a couple of Forbes and tech jury studies last year that estimated that more data was created in a single minute in 2020 than the amount of data created during Einstein's entire life. So,
Mhm.
and that's another way that I've used this motto, the data to life and life to data, turning it into a presentation. And that presentation with that title is going to debut in a couple of events where I'll be speaking in 2022. One of them being a private event, and the other one being something I'm really pleased. One of the keynote presentations for the Master Data Marathon 4 next April. That's going to be amazing. But anyway, in that presentation, I talk about how your data are only as powerful as the business decisions they fuel. Okay. And I talk about what I call the 4 life pillars of relevant data. And actually, what I do is take that word life, bringing data to life, to LIFE. And I use it as an acronym, those 4 pillars, spelling the word life, LIFE.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, if I can remember them now. Legacy, yeah, legacy, integrity, fervency, and efficiency. I have quite a bit of fun with all
Uh-huh.
that. So then that's the bringing to data to life part. Challenging people when I speak to them, challenging people that I work with to adopt and advocate for those guiding principles and frameworks. All right, that's data to life. Now, flip it on its end. What about life to data? Right? There's data to life. Now there's life to data. Well, that I think is more on the practical side. Okay. Because if you think about it, once a person's mindset is captivated,
Uh-huh.
once let's see, once you have turned their way of thinking more towards that, when the data has already been brought to life for them, right? That's where the magic happens. Okay. That's where they themselves start being able to bring life to data themselves. That is, presenting data to decision makers in the right way. They're doing that. They're putting these frameworks into practice. They're giving stakeholders something that's not only right, but also visually compelling. And that's where another one of my presentations comes into play, where I talk about leveraging art and science, leveraging brains and beauty,
I, I
getting to the
like that
point.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, where the light bulb comes on in the people who are looking at your visualizations. At that point, they may or may not be drooling, when they're looking at it, right? But you've got their attention, you've got their focus, you've got their interest, and now you can sit back and get their feedback.
Yeah, because something that we see even in our industry, I mean, I'm talking about probably 5 to 10 years behind, right?
Right.
Everyone was asking for reports and data and
Yes.
multiple different reports. And I remember that we decided at one point not challenge the reason of the report that they were asking, right? Especially our clients. But basically, we were trying to find out, I mean, what do you need that report for? And in many cases, they didn't have an answer. They
Right.
want to have the data, but they don't know how to read it or what is the baseline out of that, right? So
Yes.
everyone was asking for that. Everything was given to them, but no understanding whatsoever about, I mean, what the data means. And
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
if as a consumer, as a client, then I would like to have colors. I would like to have something that is telling me what is my situation right now to determine what is the reason of that data, right? Because
Exactly.
otherwise, I mean, it's going to be, I going to be lost as well. I don't go through pages and pages of numbers and
Nope.
doesn't mean anything for me
You
unless
know,
they tell
Jose,
me.
you are hitting the nail on the head. That is precisely what the issue is with data that's not actionable, that doesn't give you that additional tweak, right? If they don't know what they're doing, if they don't know why they're doing this, they don't know what they're looking for. See, data cannot, and I've often mentioned this in one of my presentations, that the three tenets of actionability of data. Data cannot be actionable if it doesn't do these three things. It has to help you to either make a decision,
Okay.
answer a question, or solve a problem. And you hit the nail on the head, right? Because if they don't know, well, there is no decision to be made, right? There is no question to be answered. There is no problem to be solved. And if you don't have those things, you don't need the report,
Thank
right?
you. Thank you for mentioning those three because those are definitely very important, right? I mean, if you keep in mind that,
Absolutely.
then that it would be a different story, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir. Absolutely.
and you use also something that is called a concept to reality, right? And
Hmm.
is related to the actionable data. What are
Yes.
those five items that you describe in there?
Sure. So, you have a concept or an idea in mind. Okay, you think you know what the report's going to look like. You've got it. You think you have it figured out, but at that point, it's just a concept.
Uh-huh.
On the other side, you have reality. How are you putting it into practice? What's it going to look like when you are finished with it? Okay.
Right.
And I believe that you have to look at this as a spectrum along which I suggest various stages for getting from this concept on one side, where it's just a mind picture on one side, to when you are finished with it, the reality, the concept to reality. Okay. You have to start the race, then you have to make your case, then you have to motivate your base, then you have to give it some space, only then can you put it into place. That's what you need, you
That's
know?
great.
And if you do that, then you will have gone from concept to reality. You by and doing so, blending both art and science, brains and beauty. You gotta, it looks good. Yeah, it may look good, but is it right? Okay, it's
Uh-huh.
pretty, but does it work? You have to have both, and getting to that point and blending the brains and the beauty, if you will, the art and the science. I love Spencer Sobzak. I don't know if he's watching right now or not, but he's real big on LinkedIn, and he is an absolute guru when it comes to this sort of stuff. One of the quotes that he often uses, and I love to use his one of his quotes, this particular quote when I'm speaking. and that is um, data storytelling is both an art and a science. Our data visualizations are the most powerful when they find this balance, and that's the key.
At least
Both
I,
are equally important.
at least I agree to the storytelling. The storytelling is everything
Yes.
because that's the easy way to help people to understand any specific topic.
Right. Well, that's the way we learn as humans, right? The best way we learn a story ever since we were little kids, to learn concepts is through a story.
That is correct. Yes.
Hard work and let's see, hard work, persistence, and dedication are important for you to be able to get a job. Okay, that means nothing to a 4-year-old.
That is correct. Yes.
The first little pig built his house of straw. The second little pig built his house of sticks. The third little pig built his house of bricks. The wolf came and he blew and he couldn't do it. He had asthma or something. He could not blow the house down and the little pig was safe, right? That appeals to a 4-year-old. What does he learn by that? Don't build your house out of straw. Don't have a wolf who has asthma. Hang out with your two brothers in the nice house and don't, right? It's going to teach them the value of hard work and, though maybe not in those exact words, but they're going to learn that we learn best by stories. Why not adopt that same mentality
That is
when
correct.
you are putting these reports together? When you have multiple reports, string it together into a story form. What is the point? In a story, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In a story, you have a protagonist and an antagonist. You have plot, you have drama, you have conflict, you have resolution. To the extent that you are able to pull it, the more of those metaphors, if you will, that you're able to pull into the story that you're telling with your data, the more compelling it's going to be to your audience and the greater degree of intensity in your message, then the greater degree of retention that they'll have, the more meaningful it'll be, the greater the insight that they'll draw, and the more you're going to look like a hero.
And this sounds very simplistic, but I mean, for business owners today, right?
Hmm.
Many of them they decide not to tell the story, and the story is about everything, right? For a
Absolutely.
solopreneur, for an intrapreneur or entrepreneur, right? I mean, it's important. I
Exactly.
mean, to convey the story because the story is what is powerful. You can have buildings, you can
Absolutely.
have equipment and everything, but it doesn't say anything as a consumer. I mean, doesn't to me it doesn't say anything, right? Uh,
Exactly.
just to give an example, I mean, American Airlines. Oh yeah, they have airplanes. Of course, they have to have them. What's the
Hmm.
difference? I mean, the difference is the story that they have behind the brand, right? But if you are
Right.
unable to tell them, then it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to advance in that
Exactly.
branding aspect and getting the trust from people.
Hmm.
Great,
Yeah,
great.
and it's all about, it's all about trust, isn't it? They have to trust in the integrity of what you've put together in your report. Trust. I was telling, I who was I talking to the other day? Well, I don't know, one of the other podcasts. So many of them I can't keep up with. Yeah, where I talked about trust, and trust is a funny thing, right? It's very difficult to gain, relatively easy to lose, and
Oh
nearly
yeah.
impossible to regain once you've lost it, right?
Sad but true. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and so, people tend to believe what they can trust, and, your reputation's on the line, your integrity is on the line, your credibility is on the line, regardless of, whatever moral compass you might have, even if you don't have a moral compass, even if you're looking at it from a selfish standpoint of you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're not careful about being honest with the data, not manipulating it, not having your own preconceived idea up front, and then you manipulate and shift and flex or whatever for it to fit the idea you've got. No, let the data speak for itself. Let the decision makers figure out what it's doing. And as you're putting it together, again, getting back to the story, put it together as a story, but be honest in that story.
Now, let me ask you something that is it may be a little bit controversial, right?
Yes, sir.
Perception, right? All of us we have a perception from the same issue, right?
Hmm.
But it can be different. It can be all different. If we have five different people in the room, then the perception it may be four different perceptions, right?
Yes, sir.
How you through bringing life to data, you are going to be able to not to influence, but just to defeat something that is not accurate
Hmm.
and change the perception.
That's a good point. Um, well, changing an erroneous perception, okay, is simply letting the truth come out, letting
Okay.
the data speak for itself. The numbers don't lie. When they do, it's because people made them lie.
Okay.
They either zoomed in on on part of a trend without showing the entire trend, um, emphasizing one line of business and not bringing in the other, um,
Okay.
making a downward trend, cutting off the range of time that you're looking at when it's a downward trend, and not picking up the rest of the time period where it may be swooping back up. You
Uh-huh.
know, show the complete picture. Okay, look for red herrings. Consult with subject matter experts. Ensure that what's being gathered is complete, correct, and concise, right? So that you have everything that you need in order to make that decision. And I think, in my opinion, I'm not the absolute expert on this. I'm not well, I've been told I'm a data guru, I guess, but I don't know. The guru is a whatever, and I didn't play one on TV either. Uh, yeah, so but still, yeah, you can change the perception. Let the truth speak for itself. Let the data speak for itself. Come what may, let the chips fall where they may,
But
and see
but
what.
but is the data enough for me to change the perception? Because what we see in, I mean, I'm talking about in different politics or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And we see something that is not that easy to. I
Right.
mean, even though that people are saying the truth, still people don't believe because whatever the case may be, the belief system is in a
Mhm.
uh,
Right.
different level. I don't know.
Yeah. And well, that is a very good point you bring up. I Some battles you're just not going to win. Yeah. Uh, the advice that I would have, again, let the data speak for itself.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
There may be some mitigating circumstances and mitigating um, narrative, okay, that you may have to inject, right? Yes, I do believe in letting the data speak for itself, but sometimes when it's incomplete data, sometimes when you aren't able to zoom out and see the entire picture, it helps to bring in narrative. And that's all part of that telling the story, right? If it's just looking at raw numbers without having the context of the story around it, you could be leading people to make a false conclusion. So yeah, I do. Yes, I know I said let the data speak for itself. Okay, and I still maintain that. But if the data is incomplete, yes, you also should bring in mitigating factors. You should also um, bring in the narrative behind it so that people know, okay, in this case it looks like the trend is going a particular way, but let me hasten to add there were only 60 observations in, you're looking at from 2000 to 2020. All right, and in 2014, 2015, and 2016 there were only 60 observations for this particular for this particular series. But the other years there may have been 300 or 400 observations. Okay,
Mhm.
um, I think that's significant to point that out. Though in the graph, you may not have had a way to show it. um, you could plot it where like the line graph shows what the actual percentages were, and perhaps a bar superimpose it over a bar chart that shows what the n, what the numbers were that make up each of those percentages. and then perhaps some sort of narrative text to explain, okay, lest you think that the dip here is more significant than it really is, data are incomplete for those years. I forget what I said now in the example, whatever, '04, '05, and '06,
Uh-huh.
because the N for those observations is much lower than in the years surrounding it. Own up to it. Go ahead and mention it. Be transparent about it.
Now,
You know,
is the human being biased when they are looking at data?
oh, good heavens, yes. That's just it. We we all have biases, right? You can't. I mean, I can't sit here and say, "Oh, I'm not biased about anything." No, we all have biases. We all have a grid through which we interpret, the lens through which we see
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
the data that we're looking at. And while you cannot ignore the bias or make it go away, you can appeal to it. Okay. People who have, for instance, an expediency bias of wanting to make a decision quickly. Okay. You can appeal to that by seeing, okay, this is the way this particular observation changes over time, right? You can both appeal to it and you can also mitigate it by getting them to look at that particular observation over time instead of just taking one point in time. Okay. So yeah, no, you can't get rid of biases, but the things that I try to do with them is to appeal to them, mitigate them, and admit that they exist,
uh-huh.
and again stick with total transparency, and give all the information that you can possibly provide.
Yeah, well, being biased, I mean, I just thought about it because, I mean, it seems to be that we act like that, I mean, very often, right?
Hmm.
It's like when, let's say that I am overweight, right? And then
Hmm.
I'm going to be looking for data that shows me why people are overweight. Then
Right.
basically I'm going to be confirming what I would like to know, right?
Hmm.
I'm not I'm not looking in a different aspect, like okay, a different spectrum for that search, right?
Yes, exactly. And you
So I
right.
know I know the people are some people are overweight. I would like to
Hmm.
know why they are overweight. Therefore, I'm going to be getting the information that probably I already know because I'm going to confirm something that I somehow, some way I know, right? Instead of have a different spectrum. And
Right.
the question would be, what are the, I don't know, eating habits for X population, for example, and try to
Hmm.
determine, I mean, if that is linked to overweight or not.
Right. And that's just it. We have to point people to insight. Insight has been defined as a finding that either contradicts your knowledge, confirms or denies your suspicion, or quantifies the importance of the knowledge you already have. Right. And the idea is to challenge that insight by driving
Okay.
people to actionable insight. And that is going a step further and leading them to either adapt or to act, right? Adapting to what they now see as true or
Uh-huh.
act upon what they already know is true, confirming no action is needed to be taken or they do need to take action on it, depending on how you've been able to uncover what they, to what they already see. All right. Yeah, so you're right. You cannot get rid of bias. Yeah, I feel that bias is the enemy of opportunity, right? You know, but it is a grid. We all use them. We funnel we funnel and filter our decision making process through it. And really biases are neither good nor bad. They're neutral. They can either help us or hurt us depending on whether we let our biases control us,
Mhm.
or whether we step up to own and control our biases, right? Um, so I think it's important to acknowledge it, to act upon it, and to just move forward with the information.
Keynote speaker. What led you to get to that uh, area?
Yeah, well, it has indeed been a journey, Jose.
And even a better question: why you?
Say it
As a
again.
key, why you? I mean, why? why is a company is thinking about you, for example, in order to have a keynote speaker for
Oh, I gotcha.
any specific event?
So, well, I want to communicate passion. I want to do it in a way that doesn't subject the people on the other end to death by PowerPoint. Right? I mean, I do use PowerPoint. Okay. There's nothing wrong with you using PowerPoint. The problem comes is when you allow PowerPoint to use you. Okay. Right. You know, right. The tool is a thing that is an effective tool as long as it is used correctly. It's a tool in the, it's as effective as the hand of the person that wields it and the manner in which he or she wields it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Rather than allowing the tool be the get all, the go all, and the know all, rather than reading the slides. That people can read, right? Your slides are supposed to back up what you're saying, but no, I mean, I want to present things. I bring the 30 plus years of knowledge in the realm of data, in the realm of professional development, in the realm of leadership, in the
Uh-huh.
realm of motivation and innovation. And I've been doing this for an awful long time. I know how to draw an audience. I know how to engage them. Again, this is all part of the journey. The years that I spent as an educator, that informed what I was going to do. Right, the 10 years experience as an educator was gratefully useful in my roles at NC State as I rose up through the ranks. I used many of the skills that I had already acquired. Yeah,
Mhm.
in designing education programs, in understanding the educational process, in knowing this transactional nature of teaching, the transactional nature of speaking, in knowing how to appeal to both the mind and the heart, to achieve both the resonance and the relevance, right? So all that, I think a speaker, to be an effective speaker, taking those things into consideration when they're preparing what they're going to say, when they're preparing the way they're going to say it. All right. Then the 25 years I was at NC State, um, my involvement across the entire spectrum of the business intelligence landscape, prepared me in ways that I could not possibly have imagined for the
Uh-huh.
leadership role that I'd be taking at both DHHS and Solentech. And as I've taken on these high level leadership roles, with the connections and with the organizations and with my LinkedIn following exploding over the last couple of years, I mean, I just can't believe I am not. Who do they think I am, Jose Montoya? I mean, come on. I am not a famous person at all. I mean, all this has led
neither,
to those.
neither do I, for
Right. Yeah,
clarification.
that's right. Yes. Thank you. I'm teasing, of course, but no, seriously, I mean, some amazing opportunities that have opened up. And again, like I said, speaking isn't new. I've been doing it for decades. But in all these different experiences that have molded, that have morphed me, that I have taken and used and leveraged, not only in my jobs but also in my speaking. Using the didactic methods that I like in. Really, I approach every speaking opportunity as a teaching opportunity. Okay,
Great.
I really take those learning objectives seriously. I do not ever propose anything for a conference unless I've provided my outline, I've provided my blurb, my promotional gotcha, the teaser text that piques your interest. You have to have something that opens a person's eyes and causes them to say, "Whoa, I want to hear about that." Something flashy, a title that catches their attention.
Right, right, right.
You get that with the title, with the blurbs. You plug in those learning objectives. Again, experience as a school teacher in doing that, as an educator. Um, and then putting that together with having the passion about the topic itself and understanding what the interaction is going to be between me and the audience, and being able to speak at a high level and also do a deep dive and also do so in a compelling manner. I think it is when you put all that together and you do it with topics that are indeed those that have broad appeal. then I don't know. Maybe that's why I keep getting these invitations. I mean, that I can't deny it's the grace of God, really. I mean, I don't want to offend anyone by, who may not believe in God, but if any success that you see in me, any good thing you see in me is only by the grace of God. I mean, I've always sought to honor him and serve my fellow man in all of this stuff. And if I come across at some conference and I let all this stuff go to my head and say I'm some great big celebrity, I'm going to get arrogant. I'm going to get conceited. I'll be an even bigger ham than I already am, and that's pretty bad. I mean, I'm already a ham. I mean, don't give me anything worse by making my head swell. That's even worse. But all kidding aside, I come across as some great big shot know-it-all, then you're gonna tell. I'll be kind of a snooty person, nose up in the air and looking at myself as God's gift to society or something, like I'm all there is to it. I come across that way, it's gonna show lack of preparation, lack of compassion, lack of concern for the people in the audience, and knowing that I am going to give of myself and leave it all on the field. And I'm totally spent. By the time I'm through speaking, I'm exhausted. It's like a workout, I mean, it takes a lot. I bring the energy into the room because I know people want to come to these places. They don't want to just get away from the boss. They don't want to just get a free meal. They want something that will benefit them. They want something that will make them a better person, that they can come out of their being enhanced, enriched, empowered, encouraged, educated, all those E's. I have another presentation on that. The 5 E's of effective speaking, and maybe even entertained a little bit, but that's just it. If that's what I look upon it as my goal, and it's not, I want to make myself another Jose Montoya. I want to make myself the next Simon Sinek. I want to make myself the next Bill Gates of the next generation or whatever. No, if I say I want a person to be better when they leave my presence than they were when they came into my presence, no matter what it takes, no matter what I got to do, no matter what I'm talking about, and I'm going to bust my tail to ensure I do that. If I have that as my goal, then maybe that's where it's coming from, because I wouldn't give a plug nickel for a speaker that didn't feel that way about their audience. They've given up their time. The least I could do is give 120% and give them everything I've got, so that they can come out of it better than they were when they walked in.
With that explanation, we can miss the opportunity to tell the people how they are going to be able to connect with you.
Well, thank you. Jose, the best way to, a couple ways. Most importantly, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I'm at LinkedIn/IN/JWPEREZ. To look at my itinerary and my topics and my bio and stuff like that, other than LinkedIn, but for my itinerary of speaking events and that sort of thing, and the summaries of the topics and so on. I have a profile page on Sessionize. That's sessionize.com, the word session with IZE on the end, sessionize.com/Joe dash Perez, Perez. Those are the two best ways. I'm on Twitter at JW Perez Man, but I'm not as active on Twitter as I am on LinkedIn. But those are the best ways to connect with me.
Okay, good. Well, any final thoughts?
Sure. Jose, again, I wanted to thank you so much for your kindness in inviting me to come out and be a part of the show, and hopefully be of benefit to your audience this afternoon. I encourage people. We're coming out of the pandemic. It's not over yet. Please, Lord. Yeah, it's not over yet. But take heart. Try to be an encouragement to someone else. You never know when someone else is going through something maybe worse than what you're going through. And do the best you can to make the world a better place and to serve your fellow man and to make their journey a little bit easier. And while you're doing it, do it to the best of your ability. Approach the things you love with passion, with dedication, with integrity, with joy, because hey, you only get one go around in life here, and you got to make the best of it. and hopefully make the world a better place for those around you.
Well, without any question, I mean, it's been a pleasure for me to have you on.
Thank you,
Sure
sir.
enough, for everyone that is going to be listening in the future, I mean, it's a great conversation. Hoping that it won't be the last time. And
Oh,
God
I'd be
bless you.
delighted.
Keep
God
doing what
bless
you're
you too.
doing, and
Thank you, sir.
keep impacting the world, because that's basically what you do in so many different ways.
You're very kind. I appreciate that, Jose. It's my honor and my pleasure bringing data to life and life to data.
There you go.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much. Take
Yes,
care.
sir. All right.
Okay. Bye
Bye-bye
bye.
now.
Wow, that was an incredible conversation. I like what Joe does, and definitely it is a lot of value in everything that he says. Hopefully, one of these days, I'm going to have the opportunity to see him live as a keynote speaker, because it would be amazing to see it in action. And he provided all his information, and I'm hoping that someone is going to be reaching out of this conversation. And well, is what we do best. I mean, that's the reason why we said no booking, right? No booking, because there's no need that you have a booking in order to be able to experience leaders in multiple different business environments. And Joe was one of those that basically is impacting everything that we do, and how we do things in life. This week is not over yet, and we have couple of different events coming up soon. Today, by the way, Benita Lee uh, has her virtual boot club, and she's reading Trade World by Lori and LaRocco. By the way, I believe that she's going to be on as well. So very interesting, very powerful about everything that we are living today in terms of trade. So Benita is going to be reading to us, which I appreciate that very much. I'm going to be on as well, and that is at noon Pacific Standard Time. Um, how about it? What else? What else? Tomorrow we are going to have a Happy Hour Friday, Coffee Break Logistics Happy Hour Friday. It's going to be fun. We are going to have Holly Smith from Australia. She's going to let us know about body and mind. This is a great topic. I mean, it's not everything about the conflicts and issues that we have in the supply chain, but also something about mental health and physical health as well. So remember, we are better together because we win together. Until next time, see you.